I think it's not a correct description to point at iron will.
For over 6 decades, Werner Herzog has stood as one of cinema's most daring, unpredictable, and visionary storytellers. The German filmmaker has wrestled with nature.
And we know it's not just the internet where we have to be cautious. It's many other things like
madness and the human soul, both on screen and off it. From dragging a real ship over a mountain in Fitzcarraldo to capturing raw human obsession in Aguirre, the wrath of God, Herzog has always gone where few would dare.
The continent and its 5,000 kilometers of ice and mountains.
At 83, the legendary director finally decided to reveal the 7 films that shaped him. Movies that he says entered my bloodstream and stayed there. These are not mere favorites. They are films that echo his life philosophy. The struggle, the beauty, the chaos, and the mystery of existence itself. Let's explore the 7 movies Werner Herzog holds closest to his heart.
Dinner with you again unless you left your cell phone behind. I would just leave you alone with your steak.
1. Nosferatu, 1922. Herzog's fascination with F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu began when he was a teenager in post-war Germany. He once described the film as a dream from another planet, something that awakened his understanding of cinema's hypnotic power. The haunting silence, the distorted shadows, the skeletal beauty of Count Orlok, all of it left a mark on him. To Herzog, Nosferatu was not just horror, it was poetry. He admired how Murnau captured fear without showing gore, how he built dread through rhythm and image. Years later, Herzog would remake it as Nosferatu the Vampire in 1979. Not as imitation, but as homage. He said, "Murnau's spirit haunted me until I had to make peace with him." For Herzog, Nosferatu is a reminder that cinema doesn't just tell stories, it enchants us. 2. 2001, A Space Odyssey, 1968. When Stanley Kubrick's 2001, A Space Odyssey premiered, Herzog watched it multiple times in stunned silence.
Film, and it adds this extra touch to ground it in our reality.
He called it a film that transcended cinema. It was an experience of the infinite. Herzog has always been drawn to the idea of humanity confronting the unknown, and Kubrick's masterpiece mirrored his own obsession with the limits of human understanding. He admired the way 2001 treated space not as an adventure, but as a confrontation with the sublime. The cold beauty of the visuals, the haunting stillness of the music. It all reflected the themes that Herzog would explore in films like Lessons of Darkness and Encounters at the End of the World. Herzog once said, "Kubrick looked into the void, and the void looked back. That's what true art does." 3. Andrei Rublev, 1966. Few films struck Herzog as deeply as Andrei Tarkovsky's Andrei Rublev. The Russian masterpiece, centered on a tormented medieval icon painter, explores faith, suffering, and the role of the artist in a cruel world. Themes that could easily describe Herzog himself.
To the idea that he would be instantly absolved simply for being a Christian. By atoning in this way, Rublev is instead...
He called Tarkovsky a poet of images and silence. The long meditative takes, the moral exhaustion, the way rain and mud became symbols of the human condition, all of it resonated with him. Herzog was moved by how Tarkovsky portrayed creation as an act of spiritual endurance. He once said, "Tarkovsky showed me that beauty is born from struggle, that to create is to suffer, and to suffer is divine." It's no coincidence that both directors shared a friendship built on mutual admiration. They spoke little, but each understood that the other was chasing the same truth through cinema. The intersection of pain and transcendence. 4. Apocalypse Now, 1979. Herzog often describes filmmaking as a descent into madness. Perhaps that's why he feels such a kinship with Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. He has called it a fever dream of war, ambition, and insanity.
There's the little icons.
What do I think about it? Let them keep smiling.
To Herzog, the film's chaotic production, shot in the jungles of the Philippines, plagued by weather, illness, and breakdowns, is part of its myth. It mirrors what he himself experienced on Fitzcarraldo, where art and obsession nearly consumed him. He once remarked, "Coppola went into the jungle to make a movie and found himself." I did the same. Herzog admires how Apocalypse Now captures the darkness within men, the primal hunger for power and meaning. The moment Colonel Kurtz whispers, the horror, Herzog says, it's not just about war, it's about all of us. 5. Bicycle Thieves, 1948. Among all the grand, ambitious films Herzog admires, Bicycle Thieves remains one of the simplest and most human.
C'è fame.
Vittorio De Sica's Italian neo-realist classic, about a father and son searching for a stolen bicycle, holds a special place in Herzog's heart. He loves its humility, its purity, its empathy. The way it finds beauty in despair and nobility in the everyday struggle. Herzog once said, "Cinema does not need spectacle, it needs truth." Bicycle Thieves is truth. He often cites the film as a reminder that storytelling should never lose touch with ordinary humanity. For Herzog, the moment the father breaks down in front of his son is one of the most devastating scenes ever filmed, because it's not acting, it's life. For Herzog, it's also his most personal film, not because of what happens in it, but because of what it took to make it. The production was a nightmare. Injuries, disease, mutiny, and near-death experiences. But through it all, he refused to quit. He once said, "If I abandon this, I am a man without dreams." Herzog loves Fitzcarraldo not for its perfection, but for its imperfection. The sweat, the chaos, the dirt, the proof that sometimes art must be willed into existence through sheer insanity. 7. Stрошek, 1977. Of all his works, Herzog often points to Stрошek as the film that defines him.
Dies ist die Ballade von Stрошek, dem Straßensänger, der aus dem Knast kommt.
And it's no surprise it also makes his list of favorites. He made Stрошek for a man named Bruno S., a street musician and former mental hospital patient who played himself in the film. The story follows an ex-con who leaves Germany for America, chasing a dream that crumbles before his eyes. Herzog says it's the film that best captures the poetry of failure. He admires Bruno's unpolished honesty, his confusion, his vulnerability. He was incapable of acting, Herzog said, so everything he did was real. When asked why he loves Stрошek so deeply, Herzog replied, "Because it's about people who can't adapt, who walk toward their fate with dignity. They are lost souls, but they are mine." At 83, Werner Herzog remains as fearless and unfiltered as ever. His voice, calm, hypnotic, and slightly haunted, continues to remind us that cinema is not entertainment. It's an act of survival. The films he treasures, Nosferatu, 2001, Andrei Rublev, Apocalypse Now, Bicycle Thieves, Fitzcarraldo, and Stрошek, all share one thing. They confront the chaos of life and somehow find beauty within it. Herzog once said, "I believe in the ecstatic truth, not facts, but the truth that burns." And perhaps that's what ties all these films together.
But you can turn it around, it will immediately stubbornly march into his death, into the interior of the continent.
They burn, they ache. They show us that to be human is to struggle, to dream, to fail, and to keep walking into the unknown anyway. In a world of noise, Werner Herzog continues to whisper something timeless. The world reveals itself to those who travel on foot,